Now beginning transmission 146. Gwen Poole. File under Girls Who Kick Ass.
Come on, you fuckers think that just because a guy reads comics he can't start some shit? I'll fucking take all you want!
Welcome to this week's episode of the Funny Books and Firewater Podcast.
面白い本と歌手ポッドキャストの今週のエピソードへようこそ。
Ignore her. She drinks.
Each week a motley band of comic readers / amateur bartenders attempt to pair cocktails with comic books.
毎週漫画の読者の雑多なバンドはスラッシュアマチュア入札しようと漫画とペアカクテルバーです。
All while trying to not sound like complete morons in the
すべ
process.
ての中にしようとして音ではないような完了プロセスで低能です。
Kind of like a speakeasy kind of thing. It's kind of cool.
You can find these idiots on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr.
Facebook、Twitter、Instagram や Tumblr にこれらのバカを検索できます。
No, what? You read too many comic books.
We now join Brian, Jeremiah, Adam, and Todd.
They're used to curious sights which they attribute to alcoholic delusions.
They may be drinkers, Robin, but they're also human beings.
I'm too sober for this shit. Here is a drinking game to play while you listen to this episode. Please drink responsibly, and don't take it too seriously. And if you don't like it, blame William.
Take a drink anytime Mr. Porg decides to interject himself into the conversation. Shut up, Porg.
You need to take a drink anytime Manny Bothhands makes an appearance, and I get groans and fuck yous from Adam and Maya.
Fuck Manny Bothand!
Manny Bothand is pure genius. Take a drink anytime someone refers to me as the cum dumpster.
Take a drink every time the Shame Bell makes an appearance.
Also, take a drink anytime we act like the member berries from South Park. Remember when they were on South Park?
I remember.
Yeah, and take a drink every time we do the bad German accent, yeah.
Ah, drink, fucker!
If you have any suggestions for rules you would like to add, email us at funnybooksandfirewater@gmail.com or use the contact link on our website, funnybooksandfirewater.com.
146?
146. Welcome to episode 146 of the Funny Books and Firewater podcast. This week we are finishing up our month of Girls Who Kick Ass in honor of Todd's little girl Aria. We are doing the Unbelievable Gwenpool, a relatively recent discovery of my own. When did this come out? This is like only a couple years old, I think. Am I correct? Let's see.
It's pretty new.
Like 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh, really? Is that old?
They have enough for like 5 trades.
Oh, yeah, my trade's the second printing of 2018.
Mine is too.
Original 2016. So, yeah, it's a couple years old.
But not that. It's pretty recent. It's firmly recent. In the modern era.
It is.
Panel intro.
But we have a full group with us today. We will start out with the father of Aria. We have Mr. Todd.
Hey, I'm Todd. We're reading these books because I just had my first kid as an old man.
You made a human.
I made a human. Well, we think it's a human, and we think it's ours, but, you know, you've got the whole IVF thing, so it's like, is this yours? We think so. And, like, why? We're like, well, things can happen. It's IVF. Stuff's stored elsewhere. You know, it starts out somewhere else, and then they put it back in, but we think so.
You know what? Every time your kid does something weird, you're going to blame it on that. You're gonna look at Amy and be like, is it our kid? I don't know if that's our kid.
I don't know. We think it is.
When she turns out to be really into monster trucks, you'll be like, I don't know if that's our kid.
I'm not sure that's our kid, you know.
Did they mix the test tubes up?
That's the whole question going. And our Amy is like, you know, she looks a lot like you. I don't know if she looks like me. So they got some parts of it right. I'm not sure about all
like the mailman.
Well, I thought genetically babies tend to look like their father when they're first born, just because, like, evolutionary-wise, that it basically made it so the father would actually believe that it was their child and wouldn't necessarily, like, kill the child, kind of thing.
You know, that might not be wrong. So
yeah.
There's a picture of me as an infant, and I held up that picture next to her, and I'm like, yeah, they're the same hairline, infant hairline. I mean, she's got widow peaks that come down to her browless eyebrows, and I'm like, yeah, I have that. So
you look like Eddie Munster, it sounds like.
She looks a lot like take Eddie Munster crossed with a troll doll, and that's what my little baby girl looks like right now. So, isn't she
nice? I like it.
Cool. Yeah, Todd, new father. We'll see how it goes.
They've managed to keep her alive so far.
That's right.
Yep.
No thanks to me.
Awesome. So also managing to keep his cat alive, we have Mr. Maya.
Hi, I'm Maya. Find me on Twitter at Mr. Maya or Instagram at the Mr. Maya. I'll talk to you about comics or movies or whatever. You can also follow my keeper on Instagram and Twitter at It's the Jonesy.
Kept by a cat, we have Mr. Jason.
Hi, I'm Jason. Yes, my cat is still alive and still keeping me. I think he's going to be quiet for right now since he's napping on my lap. I am also a former employee of Marvel Television, and thanks to them, I still have a Marvel Unlimited account, but don't tell them.
Your secret is safe with me. Keep
Thank
it
you.
secret.
And everyone else who listens. So the 2 other people.
William, we're talking about you.
And Lena.
That's right.
Hi.
Hi, Lena.
Hi, Lena. Hi, William.
And Dude and Heber.
The Dude and Heber.
You better not rat me out, Heber.
That's right. Otherwise, we'll think you're a prick. So, thanks.
And then, of course, also kept by a lovely little pug, we have Mr. Adam.
Hey everyone, this is Adam with a big shiny robot. Also, sometimes on the Board as Hell podcast with Andy Wilson.
Hi, Andy.
And over on Cinema Queens with our good friend Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
And yeah, just doing my thing. When this comes out, I'll be firmly up in Boise doing some stuff up there for work.
It's Boise.
Whatever, I don't care. I'm saying how the fuck I want to.
Just like you see boys, it's Boise.
I think it's funny that I've already, for my friend who lives there, he's giving me a list of like all the gay bars I should go to. So
just stay away from Nampa.
Yeah, or Nampa's. I don't know. Clark tells me that Boise sucks anyway, so we'll see how it goes.
Boise's a shithole.
So I'm just
Sorry if you live in Boise.
I'm just gonna bring my Switch.
I have family who lives up there actually that I really like that part.
She used to live on Valium and Way.
She did actually. She did live on the corner of Valium and Way.
So I'll just be bringing my Switch up there to play some games, and I'm pissed because I've waited 15 years for goddamn Kingdom Hearts 3,
and it's gonna release
while I'm up there.
Woohoo!
Take your PlayStation.
I think we're halfway though to Half-Life 3.
Yeah, no,
I'm still waiting on StarCraft Ghost.
Yeah, which I've played.
Take your PlayStation.
Yeah, well, I don't know how the TV's gonna be set up there, and you know the 20 is you're assigned a roommate for the hotel room because they want to maximize.
Sure.
And one of the other managers who's already been working with this company for a bit and also is working with a friend of mine happens to, and he's my roommate, also happens to be gay.
Ooh, nice.
So I talked to my buddy. I was like, "What's this person's name again?" 'Cause he's like, "Dude, I work with this gay guy. You'd love him." He's like, "Blah blah blah." I'm like, "Oh, that's my roommate." He's like, "That's funny." But
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So it should be interesting. But I'm just gonna bring my Switch and then play some Diablo and grind more on Smash Brothers and stuff. And then I think I'm gonna pick up the new. It's the remake of the Mario that came on the Wii U.
Yeah, Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna bring that up for me too. And then Dark Souls.
It's a fun game.
And then Dark Souls, so my roommate can hear me cussing loudly and wondering what the fuck I'm doing.
Yes.
Nice. And I'm Brian. I'm a sound designer based in Southern California and a grad student at the University of Denver.
Hi, University of Denver.
Hi, University of Denver.
They can't hear you. They're too stoned.
Apparently, actually, okay. So this is funny. For one of my classes this semester, I have to read. I have to read a lot of papers, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the papers I'm reading on is the state of the cannabis industry, which I'm pretty that's actually part of my homework is reading like how cannabis is selling right now, which I'm kind of interested in actually.
Well, it's
I've gotten around
really
into it.
fascinating. So it's legalized by the state, but still illegal by the federal level. So the entire cannabis industry is still a cash-based business,
Right, because they only use debit card.
Federal marshals, the U.S. Marshal Service could just seize it and type of the deal.
Yeah, just so everyone wouldn't Venmo you.
And it's really kind of the deal it is, though, is you've got, think about this billions of dollar industry that's all cash-based. I mean, good grief. That's crazy.
It's a very interesting problem.
So, that sounds fascinating.
I mean, if we still have a government by the time this episode comes out, maybe they'll have to do something about it.
No, they're all on they're on strike. They're all on strike, right? I'll tell my sister that she's on strike, and I'll let her give her opinion on that.
But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about goofier, sillier things.
Oh, you don't want to talk about the SEC employment status?
But what could be goofier or sillier than our government?
That's an
the guy
excellent point.
running it.
That is a very valid point, actually.
That was supposed to be a segue.
Segui?
I know.
So every time I hear the word segue, I think of the word segui, and I get instantly transported back to Forever Plaid.
As opposed
and I'm just like, God damn it.
As opposed to Adam, who is so gooey.
Adam is so gooey?
Gooey.
Yeah, it's still up there.
Yeah, I just think of when Adam farts.
It's like the wind blowing down the valley.
I don't know if you make that
Cold wind rushing through the valley.
Yeah.
So comics.
So comics. I drank an energy drink in between recording episodes in hopes of being able to wrangle these cats better, and I don't know.
How's it going, Brian?
You know what? I'm not bouncing off the walls yet, so maybe it's taking a little time.
It's good thing we'll start
Drink another one.
Drink another
No,
one.
thank
Hey,
you.
and I can just pound one for one and see how it goes.
I'm on my second
No.
Red Bull. I drank one during the first show, and I'm drinking one now.
That would be interesting to watch if you and I just started pounding energy drinks and see what happens.
Oh, you and me?
Yeah.
Dude, I told you about my Red Bull experience. Not my Red Bull, my 5-hour energy experience. Did I ever talk about that?
No.
So we used to do these grad nights where you basically would have to stay up all night, and I would do the hip-hop stage because nothing says hip-hop like the white kid from Utah.
Yeah.
And so,
12 inches
So, like,
of snow closes out the show every time.
Word up. No, so I was doing the hip-hop stage, and so I had to be up. Like, it was like a 12-hour shift, but I wasn't used to working overnights because I'd be like working during the days and then working overnights, and like it just... After a while, you start to figure out your rhythm for overnights. I hadn't figured that out yet. So I'd read on the bottle that you could take 2 servings of 5-hour energy within a 12-hour period.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But what I didn't realize is that one bottle of 12-hour energy is 2 servings. So I drank a bottle of 5-hour energy, and about 6 hours later, I drank another bottle. So now I'm up to 4 servings of 5-hour energy, and I'm just sitting there at the console, like legs bouncing up and down like a jackhammer, thinking, and like I can feel my heartbeat racing, and I'm starting to sweat, and I'm like, I am going to have a heart attack and die. This is what's going to end up killing me. So like it freaked me out. So I've never had a 5-hour energy since because it scared the living shit out of me.
I've the first time I ever did one, I was like, I don't do drugs. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure this is what drugs feel like.
Yeah.
Because I was talking faster than I already do. My heart was racing. I couldn't think straight. And the next time I took one was when we came back from California 2 years ago. Is that I was sitting at my friend's house. His grandma passed away, so the night before we left, they were doing a celebration of life. So it was a big party. We were drinking till like 3 in the morning. It was a ton of fun. We woke up at 7 to drive back to Utah. So around Beaver, I was like, I'm going to fall asleep. We were listening to audiobooks on the way, and I was like, I'm going to fall asleep.
The gay
Only
guy
Adam would fall asleep near Beaver.
Yeah. Thank you for that joke. I mean, it wasn't like Penis Idaho or anything. Don't know if that exists, but so I went and got one. And honestly, if you are really tired, it does lift you up. But it's like if you're already pretty much,
your heart's going to beat out of your chest.
Yeah. So I don't know.
And since we're so off the rails, I'm going to continue this one. Thank you, Brian.
Is this about the time you took it in enema form?
No, but it's as bad. So I had back in college, back in the days, I worked at a graveyard weekend shift. So I'd work 12 hours on, 12 hours off, and it started at midnight Friday night. So I woke up Friday morning, did my thing, went to work Friday night. Then I drove 2.5 hours south, went to a Tool concert that had Tomahawk open. So I saw...
They were terrible.
Oh, it's terrible, but it was at the...
Tool always has the worst opening act.
Was it I think it was Tomahawk or it was Meshuggah. I can't decide. No, it was...
Meshuggah wasn't bad. Was it the first time we saw Tool that summer or the second time?
Well, this was at the David O. McKay Center in Provo.
Yeah, that's the second time, so that was Meshuggah.
That was Meshuggah, and he was ridiculous on his own. Then I drove back up without sleeping and proceeded to do another 12-hour shift. I was awake for 53 hours straight at this point. At the end of this, so I had the 64-ounce thermos, and I bought enough Rockstars. I maxed out the 64-ounce thermos with a Rockstar energy drink, and I nursed that all through my second 12-hour shift. And there was about an inch left at the end of it, and I can't drink Rockstar to this day. So
didn't you have one at Big Adventure?
Let me rephrase that. I can't drink Rockstar original flavor to this day. because it was so bad, it was so gross. I was like on hour 50 still drinking Rockstar, and I'm like, what am I doing with my life? It was one of those existential crisis moments for things. So I look at Rockstar, original Rockstar, and I'm like, there's nihilism sets in as I contemplate Rockstar. So yeah. All right. So hey, comics.
Book intro.
So comics. This is a comic about comics.
Is it? I'm not sure yet.
Sort of. That's true. So we are doing Gwen Poole, or the Unbelievable Gwen Poole, the first trade of that, which is basically the general gist of it is Gwen Poole is a woman who is a teenage girl, I guess, who is in a comic book and is aware that she's in a comic book. She is a full comic book fan, and so she knows all these people's secret identities and how comics work, and so she takes full advantage of being in the comic book universe and form. And of course, hangs out with characters like Howard the Duck, and I think later MODOK, and a few others show up.
Myification.
But Todd, what is your myification for this book?
You know, the myification is Pez giddiness, and it'll all work out in the end.
Pez giddiness, and it'll all work out in the end?
Yeah.
Rock on. Okay.
Drinking game.
So let's jump into drinking games for this book. I think... Adam, your drinking game rule and my drinking game rule are fairly similar, so I'll just let you go first, and then I'll kind of fill in mine as well.
Okay. So my drinking game is called I've Got Issues. So every time Gwen makes a reference that she knows what's going to happen next or what to do or that she's seen it all before in a comic book.
Yeah, okay. That's basically, as you explain it further, that's basically mine. So mine was, I called mine what... Actually, no, you know what? I'll change mine ever so slightly. I'm going to call mine What Fourth Wall. And that's every time Gwen Poole, does she do that as much as I think she does? Like, narrates her own life story?
Yeah, she does that quite a bit, at least early on.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So every time Gwen Poole narrates her own life story, I'm trying to remember if that's as much in there. We'll do that. Mr. Jason, what is yours?
Mine is called Deus Ex Stabsies. Anytime Gwen gets either super lucky or a coincidence helps her out somehow, take a drink.
That's also another really good band name.
Yeah.
Cool. Mr. Todd.
See, mine was just like Mr. Jason's here, and mine was, it'll work out. And every time Gwen Poole does something, it's like, what's going to happen here? I'm like, I don't know, but, it'll work out. So it's basically a riff on Jason's. Okay. Go ahead and take a drink.
And Mr. Maya.
Mine's called Noob. Basically, anytime that it's brought up that Gwen Poole doesn't really have any powers or fighting skills, take a drink.
Okay.
Validity votes.
So let's jump into votes as to whether or not we believe it is worth you, our dear listeners' hard-earned time, money, and effort to hunt down this book and give it a read. What is your vote, Mr. Maya? Okay. Mr. Jason?
I would say yes. It's a lot of fun.
I'm also going to go with the yes. I think this is a lot of fun, and I keep hoping that one of these books I bring up will somehow make up for Deadpool Max at some point in time.
Fuck you, never.
I know. Someday someone just has to recommend something worse. Somebody just has to recommend something else worse.
All you have to do is the next volume of Bobobo, but none of us are that stupid.
No, that's true. We'll have to find something else. Mr. Adam.
Yes.
Mr. Todd.
Meta, yes. If you like meta, absolutely.
Okay.
So it's meta, yes.
Meta, yes. Okay, cool.
Playlist.
We're going to have some songs here for you for your listening pleasure as you read this book. Mine is going to be Smooth Criminal, but by Alien Ant Farm. I don't know why. I just felt like that would work more.
Yes.
It's because you have his drumstick.
I do, that Todd caught. The only time Todd's ever had good reflexes in his life.
No, I've had it twice. The other time I caught a Jolly Rancher being launched across the room. Because I stuck out my arm and I just caught it directly in my hand by whipping my arm out and going back in. And I'm like, never again. And it has not happened ever again.
The thing about it is, though, you're way better at it than I am of capturing it and then acting all cool like you intended to do that in the first place. I always get all odd that I pull something off, and I'm like, damn, that was cool. I have a tendency to throw water bottles across rooms at work into the trash can, and I'm pretty good at it most of the time, but I'm when I make it, I'm never if there's somebody else in the room, I'm really bad about not being how fucking cool was that? So I can't keep my cool that way. It's very sad. Todd, what is your song for this week?
It's Aerosmith, and of course it's Pink.
Okay. Your favorite color?
It is red, but not quite. And it's the new obsession.
Yes, it is. Mr. Adam.
So my song is Rebel Girl by Bikini Kill.
I'm not familiar with that song. I have to check that out.
You've heard it before. You didn't know what it was.
Okay, cool. And Mr. Jason.
Crazy by Gnarls Barkley.
Oh, that's a good one. I hadn't thought about that one.
That just makes me think of the movie Kick-Ass.
That's true, too.
Mine, I was half asleep when I sent it to you earlier. I typed in the wrong band, but it's Psycho Killer by the Talking Heads.
I was wondering about that because you wrote the classic.
Yeah, no, I literally woke up, couldn't go back to sleep, was reading, and then texted it as soon as I had it, and then fell back asleep for like another 4 hours. So I was way out of it when I was reading it this morning.
Yeah, I got you, because I read The Clash and I was like, maybe that's a song I don't know.
No, that was me half asleep, not thinking.
Gotcha.
Final warnings.
Do we have any final warnings before we go into reading of this book or intermission?
If you don't like meta shit, it's not for you.
That's true.
Very true.
Yes, it's extraordinarily meta to a ridiculous level.
Also, it is a little weird that the trade has like 4 issues before you actually get into the actual...
Well, what it was is she was introduced in backup stories in Howard the Duck. And so those first 3 parts were the backup stories.
Right. And then there was a holiday special.
They had such little faith that they used Howard the Duck as the back way to get in.
Well, the reason that she even became a character was because if you look in the back, there's a variant cover they did for Deadpool's Secret Wars #2 that came out during Secret Wars. That was the first time she appeared. It was meant to be a joke, and then people were like, "You should make that a character." And yeah, she really was just going to be a random variant cover version of a character of Deadpool, and then they ended up making her a character.
How meta.
There's a great variant cover where you see Deadpool and Lady Deadpool in the background, and Lady Deadpool's like, "Gwen Poole, what's she still doing here?" And Deadpool's like, "I swear I thought it was just a one-time thing."
I like that
Like
one.
her face.
Where's the variant? I'm looking for that. Which one it is?
So if you have the physical copy of the book, it's on the very last page.
Oh,
it's
Deadpool's Secret Wars, number 2, Gwen Poole variant.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because she has the Deadpool logo on her belt on that one, which she doesn't have in other places. They changed her belt later. Look at that. That's pretty darn interesting, actually. Well, cool. So then we will let you go ahead and read this. Majority of us are saying that yes, you should. It's goofy fun. It's it's not overly deep. So, but I enjoyed it. So we will see you on the flip side.
If you have yet to read this week's book and would like to read it now, press pause. Go ahead. We'll wait.
Hi, we're Rebecca and Charity. We get together every once in a while to talk about food and our mental health journeys.
Join us on Spoonful of Podcast as we discuss such compelling subjects as
cinnamon rolls,
depression, European Twinkies,
ADHD,
what's a kolashi,
and more. Tune in every 2 weeks to follow along with the tasty podcast for the healthily mental.
Subscribe on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts to hear us every other week.
A proud member of the Hello Sweetie Podcast Network.
Plot summary.
Quick summary as to what this is. We start out with a few backstories of Howard the Duck, or back issues of Howard the Duck. This crazy girl shows up that he's not used to dealing with, which is Gwen Poole. She's aware that she's in a comic book universe, although that Howard doesn't. There is a big virus that was created to kill all of the universe that she sold so that she could pay for all of her cool gear. And then, just assuming that she's a comic book character and a hero, that she won't die, she ended up swallowing all of it to try to help kind of save the day. So she's sort of a hero, sort of an anti-hero, kind of like Deadpool. And that sort of ends that little bit of a run. Then she has a holiday party where she is hanging out with other superheroes, and she has to fight demons, blah, 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 blah. There's also a cool band of bank robbers that wear all animal masks, which I think is pretty awesome. Then she has to fight giant squids at one point in time, and she ends up getting hired by Hydra to do a hit. She does that. And then she ends up running into MODOK.
Makes her his henchman, kills her best friend.
Yep, kills her best friend. Is this where she ends up developing her own team, or is that the next trade?
That's the next trade, probably.
Okay.
Because she was part of just MODOK's already made team.
Okay. So yeah, basically she is sort of a villain for MODOK for a little while, and then towards the end of this, I believe, let me verify this because
So I just kept thinking of Krang from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, So what's the deal with MODOK? Let's just start there anyway. I mean, like,
because I just think like this looks like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon dude.
Yeah, it's true. But Maya, what's the story? We'll start out there with Mr. MODOK.
So MODOK was made by AIM. Hang on, I'm pulling it up real quick.
Who's AIM?
AIM is Advanced Idea Mechanics. They're like Hydra, except instead of being more taking over the world through force, they're taking over the world through science.
They're villainous nerds.
They are villainous nerds. MODOK stands for mental organism designed only for killing. I'm just trying to remember because I don't remember exactly how he was created.
With snips and snails and puppy dog tails.
Oh, they use.
That's right.
Just says AIM scientists use advanced mutagenics to create him. It just makes him super intelligent, but it also made his head grow super big, so that's why he has tiny arms and tiny legs.
He's basically all brain.
A smart Tyrannosaurus Rex.
And he flies around in a little rocket chair, even though in this he also
since he lacks the ability to masturbate himself.
That was actually the question I was about to make.
His arms are so short.
He's not the masturbation organism designed only for coming.
That's with the K. That's what it is.
That's what the Russians do.
Yeah,
he's been around for a while. He's just super smart, and he's got that little jewel that shoots things. And
wasn't he like one of Jeff's favorite characters?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's.
In fact, Jeff and I'd gotten him the MODOK mug, and I got myself one too. It's a mug that's shaped like MODOK.
Yeah.
Word up.
Baseball kids.
Well, if it wasn't for Jeff, there wouldn't be this podcast, so it doesn't matter.
That's true.
Because I would have never known. I never would have known Adam and Maya if I didn't know Jeff.
That's right. And I met these guys through Brian.
See?
I'm going to drink more now.
Mr. Maya, you were the meh?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't hate the book, but it's not something I would recommend because to me, all Gwen Poole is if Deadpool and Harley Quinn had a baby, and if I wanted to read Deadpool or Harley Quinn, I would read Deadpool or Harley Quinn.
Okay.
It's just something that, like Adam says, he said it about a couple of books. A couple of months from now, this book won't even resonate in my mind. Like, it's something that I just won't even really remember that much. Unless you bring it up and be like, oh, hey, Gwen Poole. And I was like, oh, yeah, that was all right. I did think it was a lot of fun, but at the same time, ultimately, very forgettable.
Yeah.
Like, it was fun in the moment, but not something that's going to last with me.
And I think, to be honest with you, I think personally I've had a little bit more of a preference for those type of books recently because I've had to do so much reading for school that having something as a palate cleanser to read is actually kind of nice. You know what I mean? So as something from day-to-day life, it's kind of cool, like a nice little palate cleanser. But like I can understand where, I mean, it's not the hard-hitting drama or something like that. Like it's not Saga, it's not Wicked and the Divine.
And like I said, I didn't hate it, but I wouldn't recommend it probably because I won't remember to recommend it.
Okay, that's a valid point. Mr. Jason, what are your thoughts?
Similar to you, Brian, that for me, it's a lot of fun. And as someone who is already currently dealing with a lot of drama in his everyday life, something that is a bit of an escape for me is great. Mm-hmm. And it's just got a lot of references, not only to comic books, but to other things. Like there's a reference to Truman Show in there. Mm-hmm. And it's just a fun mix of humor, a few moments of introspection, and some existential revelations. But it's mostly just absurd fun.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Todd, what are your thoughts?
So this has an absolute irreverence for the medium, in its own way, and I kind of love that. But as you take some people that it's interesting to watch, is you see which people can laugh at themselves. to see the absurdity of it all. And as a dude that we have talked earlier about my absolute absurd amount of hobby money spent towards this medium. And it's ridiculous. And it's awesome. And I love it so much. And at the same time, it is so stupid.
Yeah.
And that's this book. But the ability to go at this and go, you know, I love it anyways, and it's dumb, but I just love it. Even if it's dumb or not, I still love it. And it's it kind of encapsulates it. So it kind of, with how meta it is, as I read this, it brings me out of what do I love about this so much. It kind of makes fun of it, but at the same time, it's a little bit of a love letter about, you know, we're poking fun at all the things that we like so much. And yet I like it anyways.
Yeah.
And so it really lets me go and it's like, dude, but I fucking love this shit. And they're like, but it's stupid. I'm like, I don't care. I fucking love this shit. And this book has done that for me. So it's, my love of this book's not so much about the book itself, but it kind of brings me out as a avid fan of the medium. And I like the funny and the silly and the serious and the dark and the horror and the drama and the brutality. I'm like, you guys know I'm a big Brian Wood fan. He gets into the political, but this, it's pokes fun at all of it, and it makes me laugh, and I go, fuck it, I like it anyways. And that's what I kind of love about the Unbelievable Gwenpool, because I laugh at myself because of this book. I go, I'm a fucking moron, and I love it anyways.
Well,
So
there's
it's
something
awesome.
to be said about loving something and being able to have not taking it so seriously that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That you can't enjoy. And it's also, there's always a difference at something being poked fun by somebody who is within the group than it being poked fun of by outside the group. Yeah. I feel like that's one of the issues that I think that a lot of people have felt about The Big Bang Theory, is that it felt like outsiders making fun of an inside group, you know what I mean? Whereas if it felt more geek-centric making fun of it, I feel like people like, and I'm not saying that the writers of Big Bang Theory aren't necessarily geeks, but I feel like that's some of the criticism that I think real geeks have, is that it feels like it's an outsider making fun of it. And to a certain extent, that's sort of what my mom felt about the TV show, or not the TV show, the movie Napoleon Dynamite. Because she grew up near that town where that was filmed, she took it very personally and felt like it was an outsider making fun of her hometown or area. Whereas it was, in my opinion, it was more about just the weird, quirky people in a small town in general. She didn't take it that way. And so if you don't necessarily see someone identifying themselves as being part of that in-group, it can feel a little bit off-putting. But it's very obvious that the people who wrote this, Hastings, I guess, is very much a comic book fan and understands the tropes and is sort of having fun.
It is. Yeah. And actually, I'll put this right in line with there's a Richard Linklater movie called Bernie with Jack Black.
Oh, it's on Netflix. It's been on my to-watch list forever.
Dude, I absolutely fucking love this movie. It's from a guy that lived in Texas and it very much still identifies as a Texan, even though I've spent the vast majority of my life now out of that place. It's still very very near and dear to my heart. And I'm going like, what are you? Well, I'm a Texan that happens to live elsewhere. And it is absolutely hilarious and fantastic. And it is awesome. And you can tell the director of that movie is from Texas and whatnot. And it is great. And I feel this book and Bernie are very spiritually aligned and on the same page.
Actually, where that movie was filmed in Carthage, Texas, is probably about 40 minutes from where I was originally lived in Texas.
And it's absolutely dead accurate, isn't it? It is absolutely dead on accurate. I mean, there's this one little sequence with this movie where they're talking about this, and this older lady is talking about, it's like, there she is prancing about, showing off her boobies and everything. And I'm like, yep, I see that. I absolutely see that. It is wonderful.
Well, you heard about because it's based on a true story. You heard how it all ended up, right?
Yeah, the Bernie now lives with the director.
Yeah, they released him under house arrest.
To his custody. Yeah. The director of this movie, based on a real story. The guy eventually got released from prison and now lives with the director of the movie that made the movie about the guy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just some full circle shit right there. It's wonderful.
And then, real quick, you brought up Christopher Hastings. I just looked it up. I had no idea. He had done a popular webcomic called The Adventures of Dr. McNinja. And I had only read it a couple of times, but now, especially after knowing that he did that, it makes total sense that this is him.
So yeah, you've got a guy that is among the group and loves what it is and is just lambasting it. But it's being lambasted from a place of love and not cruelty, and it's just awesome.
Okay.
So yeah.
Adam, have we talked to you yet about this?
No.
I'm sorry, Adam.
I know, Todd would shut the fuck up.
Todd stole my stuff.
Well, that's because I'm drunk. Sorry, guys.
No, actually, well, no, Todd pretty much said everything I was going to say, but the one thing I really enjoyed, again, it's a fun comic. It makes you smile to read it, and it's just something kind of light and joyful. But yeah, it's ability to make fun of the things we love and realize that, for every Watchmen and every deep graphic novel out there, Underwater Welder, you've got a book that's stupid. And in a lot of ways, comics are still just look at the X-Men in chronology. The timeline of the X-Men, it's stupid. But they're fun. And, this was just a wink and a nod to be like, this is how you'd act if you were actually in a real comic book, because you'd be like, oh, well, you knew this. Because, like, one of my favorite parts was when she's fighting Thor, and she's like, Jane! Yeah. She's like, who was it? She played, Natalie Portman played her in the movie, and then it's like, it knows what it's doing, but it's
Sprain. I said Sprain. We yelled that like blood. Or
are you sure you didn't say? Oh, perhaps you did say Sprain. But it's not being overly meta. So like an example of that would be like the movie Scream 4, which I didn't like and other people do. But that was like when it's constantly like when whatever you're reading or watching is constantly going beyond the wink and the nudge. To be like, hey, look how clever we are, haha, wink, 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 like really obvious about it. That's when it's not fun anymore, because it's loses that joy. It's just, again, like as I've talked about before, it's the creator or the writer trying to prove they're more clever than the audience, or at the same time trying to spoon feed it to them because like they think the audience is too dumb to get it. And this one does that. Yeah, of course, it's referencing things that we all know. And as much as Deadpool breaks the fourth wall, this is like, again, a direct tie-in to what we already have advanced knowledge of as comic book readers. And so for me, it kind of drew me into the story more because it was like, oh, of course I know what's going on, and she knows. So it was a lot of fun.
Does anybody have any other thoughts they want to bring up before we go into cocktails?
Or Todd steals them.
So, as he's talking about wink, wink, nudge, nudge, the Monty
know what I mean? Say no more.
Is exactly right there. And I'm like,
photography.
That is just dead on. And it's the silliness and the embracing of it. And yeah, I just love it. It's just fantastic. And as forgettable as this story is, because as little as we actually talk about the story of this comic, it's everything, and it's the trappings with it, and it is the where it's coming from. And those that are just reading this on its own in isolation loses so much, because it's the absurdity of everything else that goes along with it, which makes it great. And you have to have everything else to make this great. It does not stand on itself. It's standing on the shoulder of giants. And for as awesome as God Love Man Kills, I never thought much of the X-Men for the longest time. And I read God Love Man Kills, and I'm like, I get it now. This is my top 5. And this is a guy that's not generally a Marvel fan. That's no secret about that.
Yeah, I just saw your collection. You're all DC and indie.
I'm DC, I'm indie, I'm Vertigo, and top 5 is God Love Man Kills, because that thing is fucking brilliant and short and to the point and so poignant and right on. But without that, this book wouldn't exist and be awesome as it is.
With you talk about standing on the shoulders of giants. I think also part of what this works, and it kind of makes me think of, is the movie Waiting for Guffman. If you have never worked in community theater, you don't understand the brilliance that Waiting for Guffman is.
That movie is fantastic.
I mean? Yeah. But like, and it's sort of a rite of passage. After you've done a couple shows in community theater, someone's going to make you watch Waiting for Guffman. And I did a really bizarre tribute show a couple years ago, and I popped Waiting for Guffman back out again because it was a sort of small town thing. But it's like, I don't know if, having not worked in theater, people would appreciate Waiting for Guffman as much. Like, I can see them still finding it funny, but there's some stuff that, like, there's layers to it that are hilarious that you have to be initiated.
Because it's too true. Because it's true. I know these people. I've been one of these people.
Cocktails.
I'm going to go with mine because Todd stole it from last week, so I'm just going to bring it from this week. I'm going to do in the kamikaze. That was what I picked, just because Gwen Poole is just sort of like just going for it, and it doesn't really matter. So it's 1/2 ounces of vodka, 1 ounce of triple sec, and a 1/2 ounce of lime juice. Add all the ingredients to a shaker filled with ice, shake the shit out of it, and strain into 2 shot glasses and take one right after the other. And there's your kamikaze. Mr. Adam,
I'm next.
What?
No.
You're next?
I'm building off of your drink.
Okay.
Because it makes it funnier.
Okay.
And this is where this is coming into play.
I love drunk Todd.
I know, it's great. Because I'm doing the goddamn Cosmopolitan because it's pink.
Oh, nice.
And it's your stupid kamikaze drink that I did last week. Yeah. But you just add an ounce of cranberry juice, which makes it pink. Okay. And it's still delicious. Because it's 2 ounces of vodka, an ounce of cranberry juice, some lime juice, and a 3/4 ounce of triple sec. And you can do an orange twist if you're feeling fancy, but we don't need a Carrie Bradshaw this shit.
I like pink very much, Lois.
I know. So, you're doing the kamikaze, I'm just doing the Cosmopolitan. And the thing about it is, that drink is derided, but it's fucking delicious. And it's wonderful. So, go enjoy a Cosmopolitan and stand up proud with your back straight. And you go, I want a Cosmo, damn it, because it's great.
When I'm in town in a couple weeks, Todd, I'm taking you out for Cosmos now. You won't remember any of this, but I'm going to do it.
There you go.
Mr. Jason, what's your cocktail?
Mine is also a pink cocktail. I forget what it's originally called, but I renamed it the bathing suit with sleeves. Okay. It is 12 ounces of gin, 1 frozen pink lemonade, 1/2 cup of frozen strawberries, 1 cup of crushed ice, and 1/2 cup of vanilla ice cream. Put it on a little blender, liquefy until smooth, and then pour it into this recipe. Recommends hurricane glasses, but any glass will do, and then garnish with some fresh strawberries if you'd like.
Okay.
I would drink that whole batch by myself.
Mr. Adam, what is your cocktail?
So mine's called Pink Hair Don't Care. You take 1.5 ounce of gin, 1/2 ounce of Applejack, 1/2 ounce of fresh squeezed lemon juice, 1 egg white, and a few dashes of grenadine. So this is the important part. You put it into a shaker without ice. Shake the shit out of it. Add ice. Shake the shit out of it again. Straight into a chilled martini glass and garnish with a cherry.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Mr. Maya.
So before I do my drink, I just thought of another drinking game.
Okay.
So for those of you who have seen in like the Lego movie, this game's called Where Are My Pants? Anytime that Gwen mentions that there's no pants with her costume. Nice. So my drink is originally called the Mighty Duck, but I'm changing the name to Howard the Duck. It's 2 ounces of vodka, pear-flavored, if you so desire, 8 ounces of lemonade, 2 ounces of club soda, and 1 sliced pear. Combine the vodka and lemonade into a large glass, fill it with ice, top it with a splash of club soda, and garnish with the pear.
Nice.
So I picture Howard the Duck with some mighty big kinks. It's just always around me. I don't know why. But that just seems like one kinky little duck. And
he is.
Good on him.
I mean, he did bang Leah Thompson.
Sure. I mean, who wouldn't?
I mean, interspecies erotica.
I miss my donkey.
There we go.
Kelly can be a guy's name, too.
I was waiting for someone to go with the Tips 2 reference for it. I knew someone would come through on that.
Parting thoughts.
Does anybody have any parting thoughts on this book?
It's fun. Read it.
Yeah,
good times.
Fun.
Final grades.
For self-contained for this first trade of Gwen Poole, what is your grade, Mr. Todd?
You know, it doesn't matter. It's a B+.
Okay. Mr. Adam?
I'll go with an A- because it does... I mean, again, if it wasn't for like the last 2 frames, on the last 2 panels on the last page, it could be fully self-contained, but then the last little panel like sets it up for the sequel, so that was fun.
I'm going to go with a B+, kind of similar reasons. It's sort of... you could read this by itself and leave it alone, or you could, continue on if you so desire. Mr. Maya?
For self-contained, I'll give it a B.
And Mr. Jason?
I am a B+ as well.
Writing grade.
We're writing for, what's his name, Hastings?
Christopher Hastings.
For Christopher Hastings.
Alan Smithy.
Alan Smithy. What is your grade, Mr. Adam?
I'll go with an A- again. It was fun. It drew you in, and again, it was meta without being over the top and making you feel like he was trying to prove how smart he was and you weren't.
Cool. Mr. Jason.
A- as well.
Cool. Mr. Maya.
Like I said, when you asked if I would recommend it, and I was meh. I'm still that way. I did think it was a lot of fun, though, so I'm going to give it a B.
Mr. Todd.
For a lot of people, when they get in the process of creating, they've got to get in the mode. They'll listen to music or read something beforehand, smoke some pot. This guy here, I can guarantee you, without knowing and being completely wrong, is he would read Tag and Bink beforehand. And then he would go, this guy knows his shit, and I need to be more like him.
Adam's changing his grade.
And I just think, Tag and Bink and Gwen Poole here is just what it is. So I'm giving it an A- because Tag and Bink is just awesome. They know what they're doing. And this is just more of that.
Yeah, thank you.
Genius. I love it.
I was waiting for that cue.
Do they have to drink twice since I said fuck you in the Money Bothans in the German accent?
Maybe.
In regards to fair point, that's fair. We should.
Okay.
Mark Millar.
Anyway.
Art grade.
Okay, so for art I can't pronounce that name.
Tiss McGee.
No, what is that?
I don't know. I'm going to get
Guri-Hoo?
So the first three were done by the short story was
Guri-Hoo. That's my answer.
Howard the Duck were Danilo Beyruth, and then the rest of it was Guri-Hiro.
Guri-Hiro? Okay. So for our art team, what is your grade, Mr. Adam?
I'm going to go with an A- again. It was I really enjoyed it. It was kind of a cross between Saturday morning cartoon and a little bit of anime.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a fun art style, and I really enjoyed it. So
cool. Mr. Maya.
I'm at an A-. It was very consistent throughout the book, and it fit the tone of the book. Nothing felt out of place. So yeah, I'm at an A-.
Cool. Mr. Jason.
I'm going to give an A- as well.
Cool. And Mr. Todd.
No, Bruce.
Hey, Bruce.
Oh, Bruce.
What was the fuck you say, Bruce?
He said his grade is a catnip.
Oh, catnip.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay. Catnip is a very legit grade. So I'll go with catnip plus. That's an A-.
Okay, I'm going to leave it at that because Todd's drunk. And
I know, it's good times, guys. They're looking at me out of the side of their eyes and going,
Catnip plus?
Yeah, there we go.
Hey, Todd, you're not breastfeeding. It's not your problem.
That's right. No pump and dump for me, bitch.
Doesn't mean he can't try.
She'd get the hair stuck in her gums.
Oh. Just ew.
Broke Maya.
Broke Maya.
Is that Maya?
It was it just reminds me of that scene it was like the first season of Family Guy where they challenged Peter to be more like a woman.
Oh yeah.
Coming in, and so he goes over to picks Stewie up and pulls up his shirt and holds Stewie to his nipple. And then Stewie's asleep. All of a sudden, Stewie's sucking a lot, and all of a sudden he's opens his mouth, pulls out a hair. He's and looks up and sees Peter. He's and starts shaking uncontrollably.
Oh, that was disturbing.
Final grades.
So for overall grade, Todd, what is your overall grade?
Dude, this is a fucking A.
Okay.
Fucking A, huh?
That's right.
Mr. Adam. A-.
I'll go to A-. Again, it was a lot of fun. I really liked it. I do want to read more. But as I talked about in the last episode, I'm still on Monstrous. I kind of want to read some more of that because I really enjoyed it.
From the sounds of it, you're going to have lots of reading time.
I will, yeah. So I'm going to bring my iPad, my Comixology Unlimited account, and be up there reading a lot of comics and probably masturbating a lot.
Dude, I will give you my copy of Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol because it's 1,500 fucking thousand pages, and you love him.
Not
so
1,000, 1,500.
How about no, Scotty?
Scotty, no. Mr. Maya, what's your grade?
I'm at a B. As I've said multiple times, I didn't hate it, but to me, it's something that I'm not going to remember a week from now, so I'll give it a B.
Mr. Jason?
I'm going to give the Unbelievable Ghostface No Pants Killer an A-.
And I'm going to go with a B+. I liked it a lot. I thought it was fun and silly and goofy. It's just not like the most amazing, profound thing that I've ever read.
But just remember, this does not make up for goddamn nut job.
No.
I'm trying to do the math.
That was the saddest silence I've ever heard.
I love it.
Sad panda.
Sad panda. Womp womp. Batfleck said the biggest lesson he learned is never sit next to Henry Cavill while he's talking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, the biggest mistake in his life was, just be quiet and agree with Henry Cavill. That was his biggest mistake.
Grade point average.
Our overall grade was a 3.54 average, which is between a B+ and an A-, which I think is pretty fair based on what our grades were.
Next week on Funny Books on Firewater.
Next week, we are going to start our new month of books that we just decided like 5 minutes ago. But we are going to be doing comic couples or couples in comics, one of those directions. For February, it's Valentine's Day. We're going to do something kind of fun. So we're going to start out with Batman Rules of Engagement, which is where Batman takes Catwoman to meet Talia al Ghul to get his ex's approval on their marriage. Then we're going to be reading Quantum Teens Are Go, and then The Fix for some bromance. And then we also have Gotham City Sirens Volume 1 for a little relationship sort of drama, I guess. I don't know. Between Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. Is that relationship drama, or is it just a little bit of a relationship, or is it just a girl-mance?
At that point, I think it was just a girl-mance, but it's since evolved into
a romance.
A romance.
Yeah. Okay.
And on again, off again, on again, off again, on again, off again, on again, off again.
But more healthy relationship than Harley and the Joker.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, geez, yes. Which is sad, but how it goes. Cool.
Dude, OJ had a better relationship with his ex-wife than they did.
Oh my God. Too soon?
Not too soon.
No, he's not wrong. Okay,
that was like 26 years ago.
God damn it.
Wasn't it?
No, like 20 some odd.
Was it
24.
93? 94?
Somewhere around 24, 25, yeah.
Anyway.
Hey Siri. When did OJ kill his wife?
My web search turns something up for when did OJ kill his wife. Have a look.
1994 was when she was.
Okay, so 25 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Of course, your Siri is a men's voice.
I've been playing around with different voices, and I really wanted to do just I did the Irish woman for a while, and she just sounded really shrill and annoying. So I've just been messing around with different ones because there's different packs you can get.
And now, just because we want to feel old, no one in the K-12 system attending was alive for 9/11.
Oof.
Yeah.
Except for the. Okay, I'm not going to say that. Never mind.
See?
There was a joke I was going to be using very inappropriate words. I'll tell it after the. There.
Cool. Well, who
You're already getting enough hate for your.
I have a recommendation.
Yes.
A lot of fun. Thank you.
Recommendations.
So this morning, when I was reading these comics, and then I ended up buying a couple of first issues that I'd been meaning to buy. I had mentioned Freedom Fighters last week. This week it's another DC first issue. Also came out end of November, beginning of December. But Shazam #1 by Jeff Johns and Dale Eaglesham, who had previously worked on Justice Society of America together like 10 years ago. It's a really fun book. It really brings a sense of family to the Shazam family. It's not just him or Mary Marvel, or it's their whole foster family are super powered Shazam kids, and it's a lot of fun. I want to see where it goes.
Awesome. Mr. Todd.
So, I was thinking about a great book to recommend that goes along with what we read. And then I also thought of Adam. And I'm like, oh, I know what I'm going to do.
What are you watching, the Bukkake team?
Well, no, as I'm
Grant Morrison.
doing a Grant Morrison book. Because, fuck you. It's great. And it's called Kill Your Boyfriend. It's a Vertigo comic. It was like, what, 2 issues?
I think it was just released just as that.
Oh, it's an OGN. It's not very long. It's $6.
Yeah, I think it was just originally released as a... Yeah, it was an original graphic novel. It's like, what, 70 pages? 80
Maybe.
pages?
And it's awesome. So it's just something that Adam should read every day, but only after he watches Godfather. I love you, Adam.
I love you too.
Oy vey. Mr. Jason, do you have any recommendations?
Actually, in going along with the discussion we had at the end of last episode with television shows for you, I'm going to recommend Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Oh, I love that show. I'm a big fan of that show. Actually, the funny thing is the guy who plays Josh, her love interest, I did Pippin with him at Goodspeed.
Oh, nice.
He taught me magic tricks. It was pretty funny.
That's great.
Sir Adam.
So it's a YouTube series I just discovered on by Funny or Die. So they did the Zach Morris's trash ones.
Zach Morris's trash.
I love Zach Morris's trash. I actually pitched a semi-Zach Morris's trash panel for FanX. I don't know if it'll get picked up or not.
So so you love that. This is a new series by him. It's the same guy, same voice, but it's called A Very Special Episode. And what it does is...
Oh, yes. I've watched those. Those are great.
Yeah, it goes back and looks like, like 80s and 90s shows, and then does the thing like you did with Zach Morris's trash, where it goes to the whole episode, fast forward, but then the voiceover guy's like, why it's all fucked up. And so I was talking with a buddy of mine, and I went and watched the episode. They did one about Mr. Belvedere, and I didn't know there was an episode of Mr. Belvedere where, like, this kid has AIDS, because he got, a bad batch of blood. And so, like, he's all like... he's like, things aren't going too bad in my life. I mean, I got AIDS, and there's like a laugh track. I actually have a laugh track. Oh my god,
it's horrible.
And then there's like he's talking. He's like, I'd love to go to school, but I got AIDS. And then this other kid's like, I don't need you laying your problems on me. Laugh track, and it's like just so fucked up and horrible. But they do like the one with the different strokes with the bicycle got man child molester.
Yeah.
There's just so
They
many.
have one on the Golden Girls where they have sex with a guy who dies in bed.
Yeah, then I think Rose kills him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's called A Very Special Episode. There's 2 seasons out. I don't know how many episodes there are. But yeah, Mr. Belvedere, when that kid got AIDS, like, we should watch it when we get done because it's just, oh my god.
It's brilliantly horrible. And also, if you haven't seen Zach Morris's Trash, which I think I've recommended on the show, that thing is awesome because it's on YouTube. But it's also on Amazon Prime as well.
Oh, is it?
It's kind of interesting. Yeah, it is. So you can watch all the seasons on Amazon Prime.
The Full House episode when DJ helped an Alzheimer's patient escape the nursing home.
I want to watch that right now.
They do one because it was all the ones that were like also like the PSA, like the Seventh Heaven with the kids who have paint fumes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
There's just so many good ones. I haven't seen all of them yet, but I started watching them and they're just absolutely hilarious.
And I'm going to recommend something that's counterintuitive that I've been addicted to at work recently. It's a TV show called Tidying Up with Marie Kondo. Has anybody else watched this?
No, but I was tempted to earlier today.
So here's the thing. I watched this book, or not watched this book. I watched this show, the entire show, while I was at work one day. Just had it on in the background, and like it's a little bit repetitive, but like it makes you want to clean up all the shit in your house. But then I sit there and I look at my comic book collection, and I'm like, no, I'm not getting rid of this shit. So it's like I understand some of it, and I totally am on board with a lot of it. But then I'm also like, the comic book collection would not actually go. But it's kind of a fun little.
Fuck you! Don't judge me.
It's not necessarily that. Like, and I don't even think she would actually totally say to get rid of it. I think she'd say clean it up a little bit, but anyway. So that'll do it for this week. I think we got everybody right.
Yeah.
Cool. Then awesome. Well, then thank you for joining us, and join us next week for Batman Rules of Engagement and our month of relationships. And hi, Aria. Welcome to the world. And we did a whole month of comic books for you, and I'm sure we'll do it again.
Thanks for putting up with me, guys.
Yeah. It's all good. So cool. So thanks, and we will talk to you later.
Bye.
Hey, Jason, get out on the bye today. That's awesome.
I know.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
so that happened. Thank you for joining us for this week's episode. This band of knuckleheads will be back next week with a new episode. Until then, you can find them on Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr as Funny Books and Firewater, and on Twitter as @FirewaterCast. Go to funnybooksandfirewater.com for the most up-to-date information, as well as cocktail recipes from this and past episodes. Thank you for joining us. And until next week, support your local comic shop, tip your bartender well, and stay hydrated.